Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Pop Fizzle. I'm Jeff.
I'm Heidi.
And today we're going to talk about our top 5 favorite episodes of a show that's not on the air anymore, but you can still find it on Hulu. I know the entire run is on Hulu. What show is that, Heidi?
That would be Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Now, Buffy the Vampire Slayer actually has a pretty important history where we're concerned.
Yes.
We actually met online years ago because we were both fans of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Then we met in a fan community there and hit it off, and we got to know a bunch of people in that community. But yeah, so it's looms large in our legend, I guess, and not sure what my legend is, but it looms large in it, whatever the case. So we wanted to go through our personal top 5 favorite episodes. And I'll be honest with you up front. I think my 5 top favorite episodes probably changes from day to day. I love so many episodes and I'm drawn to so many elements of them that probably if I were to go back and watch the whole series over again, I might have 5 completely different answers than I have today. But I have 5 for today, so.
Yes, so do I. And like Jeff said, my 5 could probably change from day to day as well. I had a really hard time picking 5. I had a really hard time with a lot of there were, several episodes that were like 2-parters. So I had a hard time with those as well. And I actually don't think I have any 2-parters on mine, just spoilers. Mm-hmm. But it was just so difficult. I mean, I had to use like asterisks and it was a lot. But I feel like on this day,
I think a German woman wants to name asterisk. I think.
These are my top 5.
And basically, as we've both said, that our top 5 could change on any given day. We'll be back tomorrow with another top 5 list of Buffy. No, we won't.
No,
we won't, because it was hard enough to do this.
Yeah, it was really hard to do it. What's funny is actually, as Jeff mentioned, it is on Hulu again, the whole series. So we've actually been watching, kind of skipping around, watching some of the ones that we've missed or wanted to see again, and they weren't necessarily our favorites, but we did enjoy them just as much as when they came out.
Right.
Okay.
So my number 5, I don't really have any honorable mentions just because I didn't want to be here all day or keep you here all day. I mean, you got to eat sometime, right? So my number 5 was Once More with Feeling. If you're not familiar with that episode, it's a season 6 episode, and it's the musical episode, the famous Buffy musical episode.
I've been making shows of trading blows, just hoping no one knows that I've been going through the motions, walking through the part. Nothing seems to penetrate my heart.
It is a treat from start to finish, a lot of good songs. Funny to watch the cast that we had known for 5.5 seasons at that point break into song and get to experience that. And some of them more comfortable with it than others, but still a great time was had by all. And then I remember buying that soundtrack and wearing it out. So great episode all the way around.
Yep. My number 5 was Fool for Love, and that is a season 5 episode. Mm-hmm. Yes. And it is actually a Spike-centric episode.
Perhaps it's my advancing years that makes me so forgetful, William. Remind me, why don't we kill you? What's that? It's Spike now.
Our feelings about Spike vary, but at the time when we were watching, I was a huge fan. And I still like the character quite a bit. And Fool for Love kind of delved more into his history. It was where he talked about the Slayers that he had faced before. It kind of explored a little bit more about his desire for Buffy, which of course was controversial. Anyway, but I really enjoyed it. I like seeing character backstories, so this was really an interesting way to kind of show Spike's history without necessarily putting him as a second banana to Angel and his little Fang gang back then.
My number 4 is actually from season 4. It's an episode called Hush, and it had a lot of attention at the time that it came out because the majority of the episode is spent in silence due to the presence of the gentleman in Sunnydale. If you haven't seen that episode, you should check that out. I will put a link in the description that has the full series on Amazon that you can purchase on DVD. See, that season 4 episode was really one where you could tell that they were trying as a show, as a production, to do something different. To say, okay, we've done all these things, what have we not done? And so having an episode in which there was basically no sound and having a reason for that, having it be part of the story, was a lot of fun, and you could tell the actors had a good time working within those limitations, and there was everything from drama to romance to comedy, all happening in the realm of them not being able to speak to one another. So
yeah, that was
I thought it was really well done.
My number 4 was also from season 4. It was Restless, and that was the season finale of season 4.
It's strange, it's not like anything we've faced before, but it seems familiar somehow. Of course, the spell we cast with Buffy must have released some primal evil that's come back seeking. I'm not sure what. Willow, look through the chronicles for some reference to a warrior beast. I've got to warn Buffy, there's every chance she might be next. And Xander, help Willow, and try not to bleed on my couch. I've just had it steam cleaned. No, wait.
Buffy and her friends had vanquished the big bad of the season, and they all experienced the same dream, but this dream was so much fun. It was definitely like a dream that you can have, where it has random elements in it and thoughts and processes that go through each of the characters' minds, but it also really explores Slayer history, and it was one of those ones where everybody who watched it was trying to figure out, what did this mean, and they were trying to attach like the different images and thoughts and words that all the characters said in the dream to what will be happening in the series coming the next season. So it was a lot of fun to watch, and it was a lot of fun to speculate what was happening next based on that.
And my number 3 was actually Restless, so we can just keep talking about that.
But what else could I expect from a bunch of low-rent, no-account hoodlums like you? Hoodlums, yes, I mean you and your friends, your whole sex. Throw them in the sea for all I care. Throw them in and wait for the bubbles. Men with your groping and spitting, all groin, no brain, 3 billion of you passing around the same worn-out urge. Men with your sales.
I felt like, as you said, people were picking that episode apart. What did this mean? How does that connect to what's coming? How does it connect to what we already know? What does it mean for the next season? There were a lot of elements there that were cryptic enough to keep us guessing, but actually did end up meaning something.
Right, and that's the thing. So people from the next few seasons on would go back to Restless and say, see, this is what that meant. And it was really, really interesting to see just how planned everything was after that. And
there were some great moments of comedy mixed in with all of the all of the more ethereal, bizarre things that were present in the dream. There was the return of Seth Green as Oz in dream form there, which was a nice surprise when we were watching that episode.
My number 3 was Life Serial, and that was a season 6 episode. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of the season 6 gets kind of a bad rap because the major villain through the season was just a bunch of geeks. So, but this actually featured them messing with Buffy, and I found this episode to be just really funny. Just the way things were happening, they were just messing with her life, which is mean, but it was in a way and shot in a way and acted in a way where it was just a lot of fun to watch. So that's actually there just because of the comedy for me.
Yeah, and you have to give Sarah Michelle Gellar credit, because whether it was drama and crying at the blink of an eye because of something happening dramatically, or it was selling a comedic moment or an awkward moment, she always
came through. Yeah, she always got that right.
My number 2 is kind of similar to your choice there. It's a more comedic episode, which stands out to me because I just laugh all the way through the thing. And this was tough. I had 2 that I really wavered on. So we'll see if mine that didn't make it makes its way onto your list. But my number 2 is the episode Pangs, which is an episode centered around Thanksgiving.
I just can't take all this mamby-pamby boo-hooing about the bloody Indians.
The preferred term is...
You won, all right? You came in and you killed them and you took their land. That's what conquering nations do. That's what Caesar did. And he's not going around saying, I came, I conquered, I felt really bad about it. The history of the world is not people making friends. You had better weapons and you massacred them. End of story.
Well, I think the Spaniards actually did a lot of... Not that I don't like Spaniards.
Listen to you. How are you going to fight anyone with that attitude?
We don't want to fight anyone.
I just want to have Thanksgiving.
Yeah, good luck.
Well, if we could talk to him.
You exterminated his race. What could you possibly say that would make him feel better? It's kill or be killed here. Take your bloody pick.
There are a lot of moving parts, from the notion of Thanksgiving and what it means, and some pushback to that, to Spike's sort of escaping from the initiative and being chipped. He can't feed himself anymore, so he's hurting in a certain way and turns to the Slayer. There's some comedy in all of that. Comedy around Buffy's obsession with having the perfect Thanksgiving. Just so much there. The dialogue is so sharp and so fun. Just dynamics, even character dynamics between Willow and Giles when they're fighting about the best way to deal with their problem. Spike coming into the mix and just speaking his mind and actually saying things that they probably need to hear but don't want to hear from him anyway. All of it. And then, of course, the surprise return of Angel, who appears to everyone else in the episode except for Buffy, and keeps telling people, don't tell Buffy that I'm here. But he's a part of the episode in the background of the whole thing, and it makes for a fun episode. It was Anya's first meeting with Angel, so getting to see him through somebody new and her eyes,
Yes,
definitely. There's a wonderful neck snap to which Anya replies, what's he like when he is evil? But all of that character work, all of the comedy of it, it's not a serious episode by any stretch of the imagination.
Nope.
And really, the computer effects, the graphics don't hold up
No.
today. But hysterical episode and one of my favorites. So.
Okay. All right, so turning from hysterical to very much less so, my number 2 was The Body. And this, I believe, is something that has shown up on many lists. And I wavered on this one because my go-to for entertainment is something I can watch again and again. And this is one episode where I think I have seen it more than once, but it's been still less than a handful of times. It is so strongly acted. It is so real in the emotions that it portrays. It is so much just, it hits everybody in a different way. The death of a character, a really loved character.
Are you there? I broke something.
Hello?
It cracked.
Is she breathing?
No.
Paramedics should be there in a moment. You might have cracked a rib. It's not important.
She's cold.
The body is cold?
No, my mom. Should I make her warm?
No. If she's not responding to the CPR, best thing is to wait for the paramedics, okay?
When will they be here?
They're very nearby. You just stay calm. When the paramedics arrive, try to answer the question.
I have to make a call.
It was powerful, it was well acted, well done, well directed. The fact that there was no music throughout it, so you didn't even get the benefit of musical cues to tell you how you should feel. And that's the thing about processing the passing of a loved one, is that you just don't even know how you feel. So I felt they were 110% spot on for how that should have gone, even though we are sad that Joyce had to go.
Yeah. My number one episode was actually The Body. So again, we get to segue right into talking more about the same episode. For me, The Body stood out because of some of the performances given. The opening sequence of Buffy finding her mom and the disorientation that she's experiencing through all of that, whether it's listening to the EMT and only seeing part of him because she's not focused,
Right.
or retching onto the floor before she can make it to the kitchen, or opening the back door and seeing how beautiful and lovely everything still is outside. The sun's shining in, birds are singing.
Kids are
It's
playing.
a sweet day, except for her, because of what she's experiencing. And that's a very real facet of grief. That life continues to move on around you no matter what you're experiencing. And so to see that given form and approached in a very realistic way, in a show that could range from horror to comedy to drama to romance to, Buffy had this ability, the show had this ability to maneuver through all those waters. But this episode stands out because it took a very serious subject very seriously. And that opening sequence stands out to me a great deal. One of, I think, my favorite just solid moments, because of the shock that you feel when you're in those moments, was that when Giles comes in and sees her mother, his first response is to go and try to do something. And when Buffy says, "They told me not to move the body," it's when she says "the body," which is the title of the episode, that she realizes that that's all that it is. It's not her mother anymore. Her mother's gone. And that is what prompts the emotion. That's what brings it all out. That's such a sweet, awful moment. And I mean that because awful in the sense that it's a hard moment for anybody to go through, but a sweet moment in that they were able to capture it in a very real way. The second segment where we don't hear what she says to Dawn, we only see Dawn's reaction. Dawn's having a regular day at school where things seem to be going pretty well for her. And then that comes on the heels of it. Then we get the scene with the friends preparing, not only because they have a friend who just experienced this loss, but because they knew Buffy's mom. They had a relationship with Buffy's mom. They're feeling that grief. And the way that, like Heidi said, that you don't fully understand, you don't fully comprehend sort of what's happening, you don't know what to feel. And we see that through her friends, that they want to be strong for her, but they don't know how they feel themselves.
Are they gonna cut the body open? Oh my God. Would you just stop talking? Just shut your mouth. Please.
What am I doing?
How can you act like that?
Am I supposed to be changing my clothes a lot? I mean, is that the helpful thing to do?
Guys.
The way you behave.
Well, nobody will tell me.
Because it's not okay for you to be asking these things.
But I don't understand. I don't understand how this all happens. How we go through this. I mean, I knew her, and then there's just a body. And I don't understand why she just can't get back in it and not be dead anymore. It's stupid. It's mortal and stupid. And Xander's crying and not talking, and I was having fruit punch, and I thought, well, Joyce will never have any more fruit punch, ever, and she'll never have eggs, or yawn, or brush her hair, not ever, and no one will explain to me why.
The conversation that happens between Willow and between Anya, the fact that the whole time that they're having that conversation, which is very intense and emotional, that Xander's just pacing in the background, pacing in the rage of not being able to fix it, building up in him. And so all of those elements, and then even the end, which is probably my least favorite section, but the end where we see that even vampires aren't going to stop coming. It's not going to stop. Life continues. You have to mourn, you have to have your space, but life is going to keep coming at you, and there's nothing you can do about that. And so it was a real turning point, I felt like, for the series too, because Buffy, for all of the adult things that she had been through by that point, had not really had to
Be an adult.
Take care of her sibling, take care of a house, have a job, do all of the things that she would later have to deal with. And so the pressure was then really on her from that point forward. pressure leading her to make some dumb choices, but also pressure leading her into becoming who she would need to be in season 7 to deal with the things that she would have to deal with there. So that was my number 1.
Okay, so in an attempt to not end on a downer, and thank goodness we did this in the order that we did, my number 1 was Once More with Feeling, which actually showed up on Jeff's list as his number 5. And this is, like he said, it was just a lot of fun. It was so much fun to see the characters enjoying themselves and, you know, actually pointing out how odd it was that they were breaking into song.
It could be witches, some evil witches, which is ridiculous because witches, they were persecuted, wicked, good, and love the earth and women power, and I'll be over here.
I've got a theory, it could be bunnies. I've got a bunnies aren't just cute like everybody supposes. They got them hopping legs and twitching little noses. And what's with all the carrots? What do they need such good eyesight for anyway? Bunnies, bunnies, it must be bunnies.
Which is always somebody somewhere's complaining about a musical. Sure. But it was, you know, a lot of fun, and even, you know, we've watched behind the scenes and interviews of these especially for this particular episode. You know, there are some actors that were just not that comfortable singing, but they did it anyway, and kudos to them for that. The soundtrack is one that if it happens to pop up on shuffle somewhere, it's one we can still sing along to, and it's so much fun, and we love the way the characters kind of, you know, interacted for that. It was just, I felt like a really well done episode, and just, it was something I think that was planned for quite some time, so it was really great to see the people who could sing actually do it, and then the others who played along and did a great job too.
You know, the one episode that almost made it, and I debated between it and Pangs, was the episode Something Blue. Something Blue
that was on my list too.
Is another one of those things that I just can enjoy that episode from start to finish. It's so funny, so many comedic moments, so much fun characterization between characters, so many classic quotable lines.
Very quotable.
In that episode. So that and Pangs, it was just like back and forth which one I wanted to include. They're both so funny. So I think the point for you at home is check out Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you haven't watched the series, give it a go. Like any series, it takes a while to find its momentum. Season 1 had some really good episodes, but it did kind of falter a little bit trying to find its feet and trying to figure out what it wanted to be. Season 2, it takes off like a rocket and is really good from that point on. There are seasons that have episodes that are hit or miss for me, but for the most part, it was a really strong, well-written, handled series. And so if you haven't seen it, like I said, we'll include the link below to find the DVDs at Amazon, or you can check it out on Hulu if you prefer streaming. So that's it, I think. Yeah. Our top 5 favorite Buffy episodes for today. Anyway. And we may have some more to say about Buffy. We may do some retro watches and rewatches and that sort of thing, but we'll talk about that at another time. If you like this video, what do they need to do?
They need to click the thumbs up.
That's right. And also subscribe, hit that little bell icon that you see there, and that'll enable you to be notified the next time we post a video for them to watch. The next video, what is this? Top 5 reasons that you like me, I think, is the next one.
I didn't prepare a list.
You didn't prepare a list? Okay.
Sorry.
She'll need time to prepare. But anyway, the next time we'll be back with another list or another reaction or a movie review or what have you. So please be sure and join us and comment below. Let us know if you are a fan of Buffy. What are your top 5 favorite episodes? Let's discuss that down below in the comments. Until next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.